Good morning, day 94 of hiking the Appalachian Trail in 100 days. It's just after 8 o'clock and I'm about 3 miles in and have climbed almost 2,000 feet already. So see some mountains out here with some clouds down below, but the sun is out up here and lots of climbing ahead of us today. Gonna be a tough day, tougher at least, and but going over lots of peaks, so hopefully we'll get some views. One thing that's interesting is there's a lot of leaves on the ground and they seem kind of fresh, like they've fallen from the trees already, so that's curious. It's only September 6th today, so it doesn't really seem like it should be fall yet, but maybe it is. Oh man, that is awesome. Wow. I'm pretty much on the top of Wesser Bald here. Might be Wesser, I don't know. I don't know the origin of the name, but really cool views with the clouds out there. And maybe it goes a little bit up here. Actually not sure which way the AT goes, to be honest. Oh, there's a little fire tower up there, so I bet the AT goes down here. Decided to climb the fire tower because, oh, I don't know if this is a fire tower, but the view tower, I guess. Because, you know, it's the last week of the trip and might as well take advantage of this beautiful scenery while I have the opportunity here. So I just think the clouds below you with the mountains poking out is so cool. Nice little view. Good ways out into the distance here. A little bit before 11 o'clock now. It's just before 11 o'clock now, and I got just under a mile and a half to a stream that I'm gonna stop at for my lunch break, and doing well so far today. Have had a lot of elevation gain for sure, but still been able to maintain a fairly decent pace, just a skosh above 2.5 miles an hour, so can't complain about that too much. And it is pretty cool up here, even at 11 o'clock when you're not in the sun. So I can sort of understand why the leaves are coming off some of the trees already. I guess up higher elevation, it's kind of starting fall already, which is interesting. And I actually see my first pair of hikers just up ahead for the day. So I actually ended up talking to those two hikers for probably at least 10 minutes, maybe a few more actually. And they were pretty interesting and had a lot to say. Their names were Broken Compass and Wildflower, and I think they said they just do a section each year, like a 150 to 300 mile section, and they've done, I think, a good part of the trail, but they don't necessarily do it in order. Like they said, they've done like Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey area, but haven't done Virginia. And they did this section this year. They're doing from Springer north to the NOC that I was at yesterday afternoon. But anyway, they were saying Georgia is kind of boring, just some ups and downs and not much to see. So I'm supposed to give them my verdict via the YouTube videos as I'm going through Georgia and when I get done. So hopefully I remember to do that. And we were talking about water some, and they were saying there's not much. in the next 20-ish miles. And I'm not sure if there's water at the shelter or not that I'm gonna stay at. There was a comment like 3 weeks ago that said it's pretty low. So I'm gonna sort of assume there's not water. So I'm probably gonna cook up my dinner when I get up to this stream here in less than a mile and eat that, and then there should be a spring that they said had water, which is about a mile or two before the shelter tonight. So I'll fill up there, but I won't have to carry a ton since I won't have to cook dinner. At the top of Wesser Bald here, pretty incredible views. And there's a little tower up here, so I'm gonna climb up that real quick, take a look. So from up in the tower here, you can see back behind us as well as all around. And according to this little graphic here, the mountains out in that direction are the Smokies, and Klingman's Dome is somewhere over there. It's hard to tell based on this little map, but somewhere in that direction is Klingman's Dome, Mount Collins, and some other of the mountains that we climbed up in the Smokies. So it's a bit before 3 o'clock now, and man, this section of the trail is super nice. It's gradual downhill and no crazy terrain and out of the sun for the most part. And honestly, today has been going great. I thought it was going to be super difficult, which it has been difficult, but not really all that bad, and I've definitely been able to keep up a pretty good pace. And honestly, that's something I should get better at, I guess, is just like scaring myself almost, because last night I was like, man, tomorrow's gonna be so tough. It's like 22, 23 miles with over 7,000 feet of elevation gain, and you know, I was like, oh, that's like what I did back in Maine when it was like super tough and yada yada yada. But the terrain here is just still significantly easier than Maine. Plus I am definitely have more trail legs now than I did in the first week or two in Maine. So I feel like I am doing better sometimes than I give myself credit for. And honestly feels like I'm just crushing these days at this point. And I'm feeling pretty good about it. So still got probably under 4 miles left today, and in 2.5-ish probably I'm gonna stop. There should be a spring of some sort part way up the last mountain of the day, and then I'll climb that mountain, and then it's about half mile down the other side to get to the shelter, and there might be water there, I'm not really sure. But the last comment about the water was like 3 weeks ago, and no one I talked to today had been there to check out the water, so I'm just gonna assume there's no water and just carry a little extra, and I'll survive that for a mile or two. So I'm at this little spring here, and as you can see, it really only has a tiny bit of flow, but I kind of got this leaf propped up here, dripping some water into my bladder here, and there were definitely some other people that use this leaf, and unfortunately some of the flow is kind of going off to the side and not going in the leaf, but it's only been here a minute or two, and I've probably got at least a half a liter, probably close to a liter, so it shouldn't take a super long time. And think in a minute or two I'll dump this from this bladder into my CNOC bladder and start filtering, and then keep filling this one up. So heading up to the top of Syler Bald here, and this is a blue blaze, not on the AT. So dropped my pack at the junction, and I'm impressed that I'm going up here because it's a 0.2 to the top, which I usually don't do blue blazes that long. But like I said, it's the last week. Gotta enjoy the views. And even going up here, I should get to the shelter before 5 o'clock, which will give me plenty of time in the evening, especially since I already ate my dinner, so don't have to deal with that at all. So probably close to halfway up now, hopefully, and the top should be up there, I think. Wow, this is pretty great. In the tent for the night, and I ended up hanging out at the top of Syler Bald for probably 15 or 20 minutes. There was a guy up there named Greg and his dog, and they were just going to camp up there for the night. So I was talking to him for a while, and he was a pretty cool guy, and he actually gave me some jerky and a few figs and these chocolate covered almonds in a little baggie. So that was awesome. And there was also a guy camped like halfway up the Blue Blaze side trail, and I talked to him for a little bit. His name was Lights Out, and he seemed like a cool guy. But got to the shelter actually after 5 o'clock because I spent so much time at the top, and I think it was close to a half a mile spur trail from the AT to the shelter, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. I'm camped kind of below the shelter a little bit in a pretty nice spot, and there was some water flowing across the trail where the stream is supposed to be near the shelter, but I'm not entirely sure. I didn't really look at it that much. It seemed pretty minimal, but maybe I could have collected some water if I needed to. So I think I probably made the right move by filling up before I got to the shelter, and it was only a few miles, so not the end of the world. It's definitely been pretty cool all day, and it's definitely cooled off this evening, and I'm at, somewhere between 4,500 and 5,000 feet, so yeah, it's pretty cool this evening. Got my hat on, as you can see, to keep me warm right now. Total miles for the day was 22.8, and I'm at the Syler Bald shelter at mile 2084.1, and I think I have similar mileage tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. I think there's definitely less elevation gain. Not sure what we'll get in terms of views or mountains, but looking forward to another day and getting closer to the finish.